Homeschooling FOMO is so real. It's so easy to feel like you're missing out on something or not doing enough or being left behind, or maybe there's something bigger and better that you should be completing, or all these other people are doing this, therefore I should be doing it, even though it doesn't make sense for my day or my routine. I deal with this. Like, I think we all do. Particularly for me, it's curriculum, but all these things, I see all these people doing, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should be doing it, even though I've looked into it and gone, no, that's not really for me. So I want to address some things in my homeschool that we do not do, even though I know a lot of people do them. We all know that we don't need to be like everyone else. And we tell our kids that they don't need to be just like everyone else. But I feel like in the homeschool community, it's kind of hard to break out of that like fad thing. There are things that everybody's doing, therefore we feel like we need to do them. So today I'm going to share with you 6 things that are popular. I mean, they're not fads, but things that I know a lot of people do, that I see a lot of people talking about that we don't do in our homeschool. They're not all big. And they're not all bad. Some of them just don't make sense to me. Some of them just don't fit into my day or my routine or just the way I think. And some of them I actually don't like. So I'm going to share this with you. And in no particular order, I'm just going to put them out there. So here we go. Morning baskets, morning menus, morning binders. I have tried this. I've tried morning binders at any rate. I haven't tried morning menus, and morning baskets they don't really make sense to my brain. So I guess we'll start morning baskets. They don't make sense because I perceive them in one of 2 ways. And so maybe this is the way I think of them, or maybe it's just not for me. But I see them either as a basket full of kind of extras, like fun, not enhancement, but what's the word I'm looking for? Enrichment activities, things that are just kind of extras and adds on that we start the day in a nice, peaceful way. To me, I prioritize our subjects, and then if we have time for other stuff, I'll add those into the day, but I'm not going to take a chunk of my morning, like our best school time, for that kind of thing. The other way I see it in my brain is that it's just in continuation of our homeschool day, that when we say morning time, it's really just our group subjects that we're doing. And for me, I don't need like a morning basket for that. I just start our subjects. And again, maybe this is just the way I'm seeing it, but there it is. I have tried a morning binder / morning menu type thing, and it was just too repetitive for me. I thought, well, we do our quiet times in the morning. We have some prayer time, and my kids do some memory verses. I'll add it in then. And it was just boring after a while. It was like doing the same thing over and over was not for me. And again, maybe I'm doing it wrong. It's always possible. It just wasn't a fit for our family. Loop scheduling. This is not one that I think is a bad thing by any means. I see it working quite well for people, and I totally get why people do it. And as I understand loop scheduling, and again, if I'm wrong, please comment below and correct me, because I don't want to be giving out like stuff I'm not doing it right. But as I understand it, it's basically that you have like 2 or 3 subjects, or however many you want to put in there, that you loop through daily or on whichever days you have your loops. So say you're going to do your loop subjects Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and you have only 2 subjects in there. You would just go back and forth between the 2 subjects every day that you do it, which makes so much sense. It really takes away the stress of scheduling. It takes away the stress of trying to cram all the subjects into one day. But it's just not how my brain works. I don't like things to be kind of, I don't want to say haphazard and random, because loop scheduling isn't haphazard and random, but I do like to plan things out, even if I don't follow my plan. Even if my plan needs to stretch or break or change, I'd still rather have some sort of plan and some sort of idea of how it's all going to pan out in a more particular way. It's just not the way my brain works, but I could see it working really well for some people. So child-led learning. And I feel like this is a little bit of one that could get people angry at me because, well, let me first say I'm not opposed to following your child's interests. And it's not like I never do that. It's not like I think you shouldn't follow your child's interest or help them learn the things they're interested in or give them opportunities to pursue those things. That's all great. When I say child-led learning, I mean that my homeschool is not centered around what my child wants to learn or what his interests are. I look at our homeschool, I look at the subjects we need to do, I look at what I feel like they need to know, and we learn those things. And this one, again, it's a little bit of a hot topic and I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm sorry if it comes out wrong, but I don't like it in a lot of ways. One big reason I think I don't like it, and I heard somebody else talking about this, is that you never teach your children self-discipline or self-motivation, or that learning things are worth it even if you don't enjoy the learning process. I feel like your child will never need to pursue things they don't want to pursue. And that's actually, I feel like, detrimental to their character and their development as a human being. There's a lot of things in life that I've had to pursue that was not pleasant to pursue, that I didn't want to do, but that got me to an end goal that I really wanted the end goal and was worth pursuing for that. And I don't feel like children have are far enough seeing to see that end goal and pursue it despite what they don't enjoy pursuing. So that's kind of, I feel like, one of the big problems with that. The other thing is, I think with child-led learning, it's a lot of work if you're going to do it right. A lot of work if you're going to. I think of all the subjects, if you're going to do it right, it's probably the hardest learning style or homeschooling style to pursue, because while I see some people professing like, we're going to learn math during cookies, and I get that. You can learn fractions, you can learn adding and subtracting. Okay. There's a lot of things you can't learn. And so to learn it right and to get all of what you need in their education through that, I just feel like that's a ton of work. And if you're willing to do that, awesome. But I feel like a lot of times I see it not well done. So for me, I guess when I think child-led learning, I don't think my homeschool. I think just our life. If my child has a hobby or an interest, yeah, we can pursue that. But for homeschool, I decide what we need to know. I try to figure out ways that they can enjoy it and their learning styles and work with them. But I am the decision maker when it comes to what we are going to learn. Okay, this one I'm not going to talk about too long, but we don't use a homeschool room. If you want, I have a video talking all about why I don't use a homeschool room, and I'll pop that up here. I also have a video sharing our homeschool space and without a homeschool room, what that looks like, and I will throw that up here as well. But basically for me, it's just impractical with little kids, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. I feel the urge to have a beautiful homeschool room that I can decorate and set up and make just for that. But it's unnecessary. That's what I'm looking. It's unnecessary, and I would rather use my space other ways. So we just don't pursue that. That's just not a thing. I don't have the space that I want to dedicate to that. And we work wonderfully just around our kitchen table. So another thing we don't do is take full summers off. And now this is not something that everybody does. Everybody's schedules their homeschool a little different. We do kind of a year-round scheduling, sort of. So basically I do 8 to 10 weeks on and then 2 weeks off. And that ends up being about four cycles of that. So I guess you could call them the 4 terms of our homeschool, I suppose. And then during the summer, instead of taking like 2 weeks off, we take closer to like 5 weeks off. We also take off like holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and we take some travel time during the year. So it really allows me a lot of flexibility. But as a result, we do not take 3 months off in the summer. It just doesn't work with that schedule. And I don't like the relearning curve that my kids have. And bigger than that, if my kids have nothing to do in the morning, they get bored and they fight and they need me to entertain them. Like, having a little bit of structure to our morning is wonderful. And so I do not want 3 months of structureless mornings. The only thing I do want is 3 months of sleeping in. And lastly, school snacks. Again, this is not something I'm against. It's just something I've never incorporated. My kids, because they're on the younger side, when we dropped naps, we just automatically put in kind of a snacking schedule where their naps were. And so we have that snack. It's normally an afternoon snack at this point, between lunch and dinner, somewhere around 4 or something like that in the afternoon. And that's when my kids snack. And now, not to say they never have snacks outside of that. Kids, they always ask for snacks. And there are times we snack and times we don't. But I do not dedicate a snacking time in our homeschool. It's not a bad idea. It's just one that's never been incorporated into our homeschool. And I don't really see the need for it. It feels almost like too much of a distraction to me if I pulled it out during some of our harder subjects. I could see maybe pulling out during some of our group subjects, but again, I don't know. It's just not been necessary, and so I haven't really done it. So there are my 6 things that we don't do in our homeschool. I would love to know some of the things that are more popular, or that not even more popular, but things that a lot of people do that you have chosen not to do, and why. So if you want to comment those below, let me know. Also, any of your thoughts on any of the things I've mentioned, please throw those below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful week.